Well, again, Sweetwater is a new home for the Edwards clan, or at least the headquarters. That is where former Sheriff Frank Edwards lives with his wife Dora Jean, parents of our current Sheriff Daniel Edwards. You know, go figure, just when you think that having a family name is helpful in politics, we have a parish president from Arkansas and an assessor from New Orleans. So family doesn't always mean everything, but it's a good asset for you to have.
Oh, it's a great asset. First off, I wouldn't be where I am, and certainly wouldn't have the values that I have without my parents. And for them, I'll certainly be forever thankful. But the family does have a good name. They taught us to work hard and earn the things that you want in life, and certainly I feel that I've done that. And I think it's typically the best candidate, the best qualified candidate, the one who gets out there and works the hardest and has the best ideas, are usually the one who get elected to office. And I may not always be the case, but the odds favor that particular person, and I've been that person in the past, and hopefully I'll be that person in the future.
Well, in the meantime, everybody's still talking about the jail, and in particular over the holiday weekend, the Ponchatoula police sent out another news release complaining again about this one case and saying that it illustrated a revolving door because this teenager from Ponchatoula had been arrested, they now say 39 times, but yet was still on the streets. Since all of this broke and it's been discussed so much in the media, what else can you tell us about the jail in Amite?
Well, let me start off and say it was very unfortunate, what happened in Ponchatoula to Mr. Laurent. It certainly was uncalled for. It was an unspeakable crime, and I certainly wish him the best recovery and wish him and his whole family the best. But, the second release was certainly no different than the first release. And, you have to question the motive of why anybody would, issue the same release twice. But I can't speak for anybody else other than myself. And, it's simply not true, Ken, to say that he had been arrested 39 times. I know we showed at our parish jail he had been arrested a total of 8 times. And 8 times is certainly a lot, and I'm not downplaying that, but there's just no truth of this person having been arrested 39 times. So, with that, it is unfortunate. I've never denied the fact from the public, and never will I, that we have a shortage of jail space in Tangipahoa Parish, as well as many parishes have. And, we arrest approximately 10,000 people a year. The jail's rated to hold 524, and, you do the math, and you're going to have to release people every day, and sometimes you have to release, a whole bunch. On this particular Sims case, when we look back, we had to release, I think it was either 50 or 60 people on one day because we were that overcrowded. And unfortunately, Sims was one of those that was chosen to be released. But, for the police chief of Ponchatoula to say, it's unfortunate that the warden makes those decisions and I don't have a plan, to address the problem that we have, I can simply say that, for years prior to my being in office of prior administration, the warden made those calls. And, the same decisions were made. And most of the time they worked out to where these types of crimes didn't occur, but it has occurred before, and it's just unfortunate. But we do have a plan to address it, and that's something that I'll be talking to the public about. We've been in negotiations with a jail consultant group for months, and we were able to go back and forth with them to try to get them to include some different things and to reduce their costs. And we finally got to something we felt was a doable project. And actually, they're in town this week, basically kicking off this particular needs assessment study. And I really look forward to working with them to quantify the exact number of bed spaces that we need in Tangipahoa Parish, both to house felons as well as what it would take to address the municipal needs as it relates to misdemeanors. We're gonna come up with that. We're gonna come up with a plan to put that in place. And obviously, whatever the result is, it is. But we have to find a way to pay for it. But in any event, that's what's on the drawing boards. I certainly have a plan, and I've been in office 5 years now. Inherited, not only deficit situation, we had IRS liens, we had all kind of things to do, and we worked through those problems. We certainly upgraded a lot of parts of our department. We're able to give pay raises to where our deputies are making livable wages, and it's certainly time to focus our attention on solving our jail needs, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
And by the way, also, the former administration for many years borrowed money at the beginning of the fiscal year. That's another hurdle that you overcame. You don't have to do that anymore.
Well, that's correct, Ken. I no longer on July 1st have to go and borrow money just to make my first payroll. But I'm not going to sit here today and tout all the improvements we made. I think that the electorate knows what they are, and I know that they appreciate it because I get told that all the time. We still have a problem, just as my predecessor had a problem with not enough jail space, and I'm stepping up to the plate, and I'm going to address that with the best of my abilities. We do have a plan, and it's nonsense to say that we don't, but I think I can look behind it. We know what the motive is.
Well, your friend, the district attorney, Scott Perilou, has an idea. We're all in agreement that a tax is almost unpassable right now, any tax for any reason. But the Perilou idea is to simply, exactly as they did in Livingston, rededicate some of the 1-cent sales tax parish government now collects. The thinking is that with sales tax receipts much higher than they were before Katrina, Hammond Square and all the other new businesses coming online, the parish could actually do that, and they wouldn't lose any money.
Well, let me simply say, I think every option ought to be on the table now for the community as a whole to find a way to help solve the needs that we have. I'll say it again, it is a law enforcement, it is our safety issue, it's a quality of life issue. So this affects everybody in this parish, whether you live inside the city limits or whether you live outside the city limits. And I think it's incumbent upon us all to get together to find a way to help pay for whatever the outcome needs to be. And we're going to wait, and we'll hear back in 4 to 6 months on exactly, what we need here in Tangipahoa Parish to solve our problems for today, as well as to project it into the future 20 or 30 years. Because, certainly, it's not being prudent to come up and solve our needs for today, but not be prepared for 5 years from now. And so, anything we do needs to be a long-term solution, and it's something we have to look at. But, whether or not the parish is going to give up any of its tax money, whether or not the municipalities are going to chip in, I think certainly it's just too soon to know that. But I would encourage everyone to come to the table in good faith, and let's work together to find a solution.
Well, another idea, a way to get more revenue without a tax increase, to allow the sheriff's office to go back to as they were for many years and even constitutionally charged as the official tax collector for the parish. There's no reason why the school board is collecting all the sales taxes with the exception of the tourist commission tax, which your department collects. But in any case, a municipality, even the school board itself, parish government, if they paid you instead of the school board, well, that could give you as much as $1 million, at least $500,000 a year. Presumably, you could use that to house more inmates, correct?
Well, certainly, any additional money would be great and would help, alleviate the problem that we're having. It may not be enough to solve the problem, but let me just say, to all of the school board members and the people who collect the sales tax now and to the public in general, I'm certainly not asking to do that. They do that, as far as I know, they do a good job of it. But if your question to me is, if the sheriff's office did it and collected revenue from it, would it be beneficial? And the answer would be yes. But again, I think that all the municipalities, I think all the elected officials need to work with the sheriff's office and find a solution to move forward. But I look forward to the plan that we do have in place. I look forward to be carried out, and I'm very confident that when it comes to a conclusion and the electorate is informed of what my proposal ultimately is and what needs to be done, they're going to realize that this sheriff stepped forward and addressed the problem.
Well, is there anything we can do in the near term to try to make sure that those who are released from jail are the best candidates for that? I mean, everything is better 20/20 in hindsight, but is there any improvement you can make at the jail right now?
Well, certainly. The jail is run by humans, and humans make some mistakes. But I can tell you, when you release, literally hundreds and hundreds of prisoners a month, you are going to ultimately release some people back in the community that you're just very uncomfortable doing. But it just becomes something that you can't avoid. But
what will happen if the jail is even doubled?
That's true. But the degree of the severity of the type of prisoner we would let out would be certainly less. But in any event, I would say that we have made improvements at the jail, Ken. There are certain factors that the jail administration looks to, and it is things to how many times has someone been arrested, the severity, or crimes of violence versus crimes of non-violence is something that they look into. Bond amounts obviously is an important factor. The failure to make court appearance is another factor, and along with how overcrowded the jail is at that particular time, there's a whole host of things that go into this, and so they are doing as good a job as they can do. Obviously make a mistake on occasion here or there, but we're trying to address all those issues, but primarily we know that we have to be able to house more prisoners, and that's just ultimately something that we have to come up with, to develop and educate the voters on, and let them ultimately make the final decision.
What else do you want to tell us?
Ken, the deputies out there working hard. You pick up the paper every day, you see that our deputies are patrolling, you see them making drug arrests. We're arresting people for domestic violence, which we, actually take a very, very hard stand on, have zero tolerance there. And just, my hat's off to the men and women at the Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office for the job that they do, and both the paid as well as the volunteer. We have a great organization, and I just look forward to continuing serving the people of Tangipahoa Parish.
Well, thanks again. He's Sheriff Daniel Edwards here at what is now his family home in Sweetwater.